This is the Stop Time Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hopkins, and I'm here to engage you in thought-provoking, motivational conversations around practicing the art of living in the moment. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm excited to dig deep and offer insights into embracing who we are and where we are at. My next guests are a dynamic duo of sisters who have worked together as a team and separately on countless projects in film, television, fashion, and live stage. Their work has taken them worldwide to over 30 countries and inspired so very many. Widely known for their all-female tap dance band Syncopated Ladies, they have amassed over 100 million views online with appearances on The Ellen Show, Good Morning America, The Kelly Clarkson Show, So You Think You Can Dance, and have received praise not only from their fans and followers, but from Beyonce, Whoopi Goldberg, Shonda Rhimes, Janet Jackson, as well as many other celebrities and news outlets around the world. During the pandemic, they gave free classes to over 25,000 students worldwide online and continued their after-school programs in South Central LA and Favelas in Rio De Janeiro, Brazil. They are on a mission to elevate and celebrate the art of tap dancing through film, television, and live events. They are tap dancers, choreographers, educators, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, and I am thrilled to say that they are here with me today on Stop Time. So please welcome Chloe and Maud Arnold. Welcome, gals.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We're so glad to be here.
Yes, and thank you for that awesome intro.
I know. I'm like, wow, we've done something.
I was like, wow, we did some things.
Well, it's really, really interesting because literally, as I was thinking about you, and I do a lot of time thinking about my guests prior, you guys have such a strong, energetic presence, not just because you're everywhere, everywhere, literally, but you just do, like, you held I felt a lot of energy. And it made me think, you both have this super impressive track record of accomplishments, right? And your work is obviously truly captured the hearts of so many. And I just wanted to ask you if it's okay with you guys, like, I'd just like to take a moment and just slow down the tempo a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And hold space and acknowledge the two of you individually and together for the humans behind the headlines.
I love that.
I love that.
That's a beautiful thing. And I think that the human behind the headline is the only reason there's a headline. Mm-hmm. Because when I was talking to Cherish, one of our managers, yesterday, and there's something really awesome in the works for us, a television project. But the way that we got this whole thing transpired, it's been a dream of ours, something we've been planting for, like a decade. Mm-hmm. But the way that we ended up with this relationship that's pushing this forward is because Maud gave a ride to a friend instead of having them take an Uber. And we know, especially if you live in LA, that giving a ride to a friend during rush hour is a generous, kind act when they could afford an Uber. It's not like this was because they couldn't afford an Uber, it's a little tough. No, just to be kind and to spend a little more time with a friend. And that transformed into a whole night that then created a relationship that has put us where we are.
Me meeting her, when I spoke to her, I didn't really know what she did, but she told me that her daughter wanted to dance but had lupus. And I said, we've worked with very sick dancers before. My sister just said, I said, take my number because my sister is very kind. She's a very kind choreographer. And if nothing else, your daughter could come learn and just be in the room. And that is how me and this woman connected. I didn't even know that she was an Emmy award-winning producer.
So what I'm saying is every blessing, like the big ones, have come because of literally some form of giving or being present. It's really, even our tour was our agent for our tour was a former tenant of ours in an apartment in New York when she
20 years ago.
Yeah, when she was like on the come up and didn't have a spot and blah, blah, And so I'm just really thankful honestly for the human experience, which has then given us these incredible moments and places to be in, and just being in the right place, right time, with a very clear mission. So I when I look at like all of the, again, the headlines and these big things that are happening for us, they're really just the magnification of this initial purpose that we had for our day-to-day lives.
Totally. No, that makes perfect sense. You know what I'm really super curious about, successful people. We hear their headlines, right? Because, they're would you share with us like what maybe, something that it didn't become a headline that maybe should have, like a low light or something? Because I think it's important for people to hear that, there's probably an equal number of failures. They don't know how many things didn't fail that you tried, right?
Well, I want to share one, because way at the onset of YouTube, when I was traveling around the world and I was going everywhere. I was in Prague and, London, Taiwan and France, and like everywhere. And so I started Chloe's World, which was a video blog in, I want to say, like 2007. So this is so far before Instagram and like Facebook videos. This was on YouTube.
And what were you shooting it on?
Oh my God. I think I was on mini DV or like something really antiquated. And I was self-editing, and we had a friend who was really great in graphics, and he did this super awesome intro for me. And I was like, this is gonna be the moment. My show's gonna blow up. And then, the thing has like, 500 views, which like, yay. And I look back though, and that's kind of the thing about anything you're imagining, is that you have to start somewhere. I love this saying that our friend has. His name is Maverick Carter, and it's his company's saying. So, I don't know who made it up, but it's LeBron James's team. Their saying is, make it until you make it and keep making it. It's like, yeah, if you enjoy something, make it. Maybe no one will see it. That's okay. You make something else, and you make something else. And you truly never know what the thing is that someone's going to see. But I was always making videos. Just nobody, in college, I made short films. Maud made short films.
Ooh. I kind of want to, like, people do those reaction videos. I kind of want to like put them out there and be like, oh my God, what were we doing here? Because it's funny, but the reality is, it's like, it's good to look back on something and be like, ooh, I've gotten so much better, as opposed to looking at something 10 years ago and be like, dang, that was so much better than what it is now,
And also looking back and saying, I wish I had. Because now I can look at all those countries I went to, and even if no one else is looking at the video, I get to look at it and go, oh my God, that was me in that year, in that time. How was I feeling about myself? How was I feeling about my art? And it was definitely a time where I was still in the, trying to find exactly how to amplify my voice in the most authentic way, because I think, because I'm the older sister, and because I'm also the older, like Michelle Dorrance and I are a generation, a specific generation of women in tap. And, like our mission kind of emerged both out of New York at the same time. And we were both clear. She was so clear. I wanted to, doing the concert dance space and really putting tap dance into that space in like such a powerful way. And for me, I was like, I want to put tap on TV and film. And I want to make like a rock concert, basically, of tap women. And so, but it, at that, when we were starting, our voices were so small in the land of tap, because it was just such a powerful male voice with massive, Broadway shows that were all men, massive tours that were all guys, and, amazing women that were honestly the tradition bearers and keeping it all going, but not having necessarily the same platform as these fellas. And so I think I started tap dancing very much when I was in New York. I was definitely like in my college days and early 20s, and Michelle as well. I would say we were in the battle zone. We were like, I'm gonna jump in the circle and I'm gonna show you how good I am, you know? And
Yeah.
it was like very much a prove yourself state of mind. And like, I've got to have the best chops. My technique has to be incredible. My musicality. And it's like you're just fighting for respect. And I definitely, the difference of that life and the life I live now is drastic. And again, I feel like I needed to go through that. But just for folks to know, I would get in those battles and I wasn't winning and I wasn't shining and I was off beat. And I was remember like 16 years old and like falling off the rhythm in a in a big jam session that was like pivotal to me. To me, that was like, if you can kill it today, you'll make it in life. And it was like, I didn't kill it. But it became a formative experience to understand, oh, this is a journey. Like, I'm not going to kill it for a while. I'm going to have to keep getting in this circle and keep not being good for a minute. And then I'm going to start to make sense. And then I'm going to start to soar. And then I'm going to realize none of it matters. And now I have a skill, which matters. And that's amazing. But it doesn't matter who's the best in the circle. That's not the defining component of being an artist.
Yeah.
So I think if I were to look at like failure, it would be kind of part of it is also setting a goal that you don't even ever need to meet, that you know, like this false sense of success that you're like, I have to do this to be successful. And then you realize a little older, oh no, that's not the answer. It's just a part of the like learning journey. Part of the
Oh,
process.
100%. And it's so interesting because what stands out to me is it had nothing to do with tap dancing. Your goal was to be seen in that realm. Your goal was to speak your voice. But the irony is you didn't know what your voice was because you hadn't been seen, like you needed both. And
Yes.
that was just the conduit, right? So you're
Yeah.
right. It's until you have the journey, until you have the bandwidth, you can't look back and learn and develop your voice. Yeah. That's brilliant.
Thank you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say on a quick note, I mean, I got denied for a grant this morning and I was actually screen captured it and was going to post it on my story because I applied for all of our grants and the reality is that people do need to see that you don't get everything, but you just keep it pushing and it's fine. Like, and I'm not angry about it. I mean, I auditioned for a commercial that Chloe is choreographing right now and I didn't get it and I am totally fine with it because what's meant for you is for you. And I'm just like, I want to post my audition video because it's so funny and I'm just waiting to be able to do that. But I'm not angry or bitter. And I think it's important too for young people to see that. But I think people, you know, do show their highlight reel publicly and then people forget that like everybody fails.
I think you should share the story about the Rockettes.
Oh, so when I was in college, I auditioned to be a Rockette and I made it through to the end, which also now when I look back, I'm like, how did I make it through that far? Because I'm not very good at precision dancing. And they pulled me to the side and the woman, she was like, you're really great, but fitness is an issue. And she was like, probably like 15 pounds or so, you know? And I said, oh, okay. And I looked at her and I said, in my head, I smiled. I said, thank you. And in my head, I was like, she's crazy. And I left and I went back to my dorm room and probably ordered some more shrimp fried rice. And, but I never got angry. I never got bitter. And I never even badmouthed them because I had Facebook at the time. I was like one of the first people with Facebook. I never said anything bad. I just remember being like, well, that's not for me. But we did what was for us, you know, and Chloe created Syncopated Ladies and, you know, all that. So 16 years later, this summer I just finished teaching at their intensive for the Rockettes. And you know, it's just a testament to you don't get bitter, you get better and you focus on yourself. And like Chloe's been talking a lot about purpose. It's like, would I have made a great Rockette? Probably not at the end of the day, you know? But did I go home and become anorexic? No. Did I go home and become angry? No. We take almost 150 kids and families from underserved communities to see the Rockettes every year. We have an amazing partnership with them. The woman who told me I was too fat, essentially, is no longer there. And they have a whole new philosophy and approach. They have so many women of color on the line now. And it's really quite refreshing to see.
Yeah.
And also we did, during the pandemic, we did a collaboration, a video collaboration with Rockettes. It was Maud and I and the Rockettes, and we did it virtually, and we choreographed it offline and then videoed everything and then put it together. And again, the Rockettes posting us dancing with the Rockettes, specifically us dancing differently than them.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to talk about changing of just the guards and the mentality.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, for there to be progress, for there to be change, you have to stay open, and you can't get so heavy and kind of you know, just write off the system,
Yeah.
because the reality is it's going to keep being there. So,
Yeah.
you know, the options are be, like Maud said, be bitter or push forward and try to be better and try to create change. And so it's exciting to be able to see an institution that's so old hire new people and stretch their imagination and open their minds, and it's really special.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, Chloe, I understand that you applied for all of the Ivy League schools. Is that right? And you got accepted to all of them?
Yes.
So yay, first of all. But I'm I'm really curious to know why that was important to you to apply to all of them.
I love that you asked that question. Okay. There's a video on Instagram right now. It is so funny. It's me playing tug of war with 3 guys.
It's hysterical.
It's like
Lisa, you
it
have
makes
to
me
watch
cry
this.
laughing.
I cried.
Okay, I will post the link on the podcast.
I
Okay.
cried.
This video depicts who I am. If you say, "Who's Chloe?" It's this video. So
That's true.
So from a child, I have always been competitive. And it's interesting because it's this weird combination, because I've always been competitive from very young. But there was definitely the time of like 12 to 15 where my dancing was still very like shy and not bold, but still, and I was still very competitive. It's very interesting in my mind. I don't mean like hurting anyone else or like
Yeah.
trying to beat people, but I mean I played sports and I was going to run as fast as I could down the soccer field. In the neighborhood, I played basketball every day. I wanted to make the 3-pointers. Like I loved competing in anything. It'd be like, who wants to play the game? I'm participating. Who wants to run the relay race? I'd like to. In a class in like 5th grade, it's like, who wants to play trivia? I do. I realized from tug of war, this party that I went to, it was an adult birthday party with all these games. Who played all the games? I was the only person who played all the games. I realized that is who I am. I'm a participator. I like to participate. And then I like to achieve within said participation.
Yes.
Now, when I was in high school, I was in a public high school. My mom is so amazing because I had gotten into a gifted and talented program in middle school. And I went to that school. She was like, you need to try it out. And it wasn't in my like track of the schools I was
Your
in.
district.
Yeah, with all my friends. And I went to the school for like 2 weeks. And it's like the school that's going to get you into every great college because it's more everything. And I went for 2 weeks and I was like, Mom, I don't like it. I don't like this environment. I don't like the culture. I don't like the people. Can I please go back to my regular school? Now, what parent lets their kid leave the magnet gifted and talented school to go back to the quote unquote regular school? Well, my mom does. So she lets me go back.
Our mom is the educator, by the way.
Yeah, she's a school teacher. She lets me go back. I'm the happiest that can be in back to my school, playing all my sports and seeing all my friends and being in, you know, what I considered just regular school with all my folks. So then get to high school through this, you know, like same track. And mind you, of course, the schools that were in had just more minorities than the magnet school, unfortunately, the nature of how the US education system works. So I get to high school and I had an English teacher, and this was now in like maybe 10th or 11th grade. I had an English teacher, and she was like, yeah, you'll never get into Harvard. Because I was saying like what schools I'd like to apply to, and again, since I'm an achiever, I like say, I'm going to apply to Harvard, right? I like to name that. And she's like, yeah, you'll never get in. And
she said, I remember she said, you need to just apply to University of Maryland. Maybe you could go there.
So I said, oh, really? Competitive Chloe was like, I'm going to apply to every Ivy League. and you watch me work. And my
tell
mom,
her what mommy did.
My mom, when she did that, perhaps took a poster that was on a wall
it was in a bus stop.
At a bus stop. And it said, what if Harvard were your safety school? She took it, she put it on our front door, on the inside of our front door. So every time on the way to school, that's what we saw on the door, heading out to school. And she really manifested the idea that whatever we imagined is beyond possible. Like, it's beyond possible. And so when it came time to apply, again, our mom is an educator, and she was like, yeah, go for it. Apply for everything, whatever you want. So I applied to all the Ivy Leagues. I applied to USC, UCLA, and I had visited Columbia. Again, back to like how dance and everything ties together. I wanted to go to New York, couldn't afford to go, but I wanted to go to see shows and take master classes. So I reached out to Bakari Wilder, who was a DC hometown homie. And I was like, mind you, we hadn't been in touch at all. I cold called him. He's in New York on Broadway. Hi, Bakari. I don't know if you remember me. I'm the one who always had the braid down her back. And he's like, of course I know who you are. And I'm like, really? And I was like, so I really would love to visit New York and come see your show, but I don't have anywhere to stay. And he was like, come on, you can stay with me. So at 15, I took $20, took the
Greyhound.
The Greyhound. Oh, it was the Greyhound.
It was Greyhound. There was no China.
Yeah, took the $20 Greyhound by myself to New York. Bakari picks me up at Port Authority. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And we go to Brooklyn, and he introduced me to the world of New York as a professional dancer. Thanks to him, I understood the land. And so one day I was with some of the cast members, and they not the ones that were in the show, the ones training for the show. And I was like, do you guys know where Columbia is? And they said, yeah. And I said, can you tell me how to get there? They were like, we'll take you. So a group of the tap dancers took the subway uptown with me. They hung out at the park, Morningside Park, while I went on I said, they're like, we'll wait for you here. Have fun. I go up to Columbia and like, do you know where admissions is? And I do my own college visit.
Oh my God. Not
planned, not scheduled. I just walked in. I'm like, hi. And I remember a really nice guy named Peter Johnson.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He passed away. I got his card, and he ended up being let's just say the kindest admissions person for me, my sister, all of our friends. Mm-hmm. Like but I'll never forget getting his business card and going, admissions, great. And I got all the brochures, and then I went back and met the guys in the park, and they're like, how was it? I was like, I think I want to go here. And they're like, great. And then we took the subway back and went back to dancing. But it's one of those things where I look at that and I go, so when I applied to all the schools, my thought is I'm going to get into all of them, but I'm going to Columbia. Like, I already had that in my head. But then when it really happened that I got into all of them, it was like, whoa, I got into Harvard and they've given me a full ride. Uh-oh. like, uh-oh, now I gotta like, what do I do now? And again, our mom being so amazing, when I said to her, but I really want to go to Colombia, she said, okay, that's your choice. You got to go where you want to go. And she said, you need to leverage the Harvard money to get Columbia to do more. And so I took the financial aid package from Harvard, went to Columbia. And then in the long run, Bill Gates came and gave me a scholarship that covered the whole thing. So it wouldn't have mattered where I went. And we're actually performing for his foundation next week in New York.
How cool.
I know, 20 years later, I'm a scholarship student and I am performing for his next program, which is for his foundation for giving as well.
That's cool. It seems like there's a full circle theme going on here, right? With Rockettes and then Bill Gates.
Always.
Hey, Maud, as the younger sibling, what did you admire and emulate from Chloe's path? And then what distinctions did you create to set yourself apart from following in her footsteps? I'm so curious.
Well, we grew up together so closely. We shared a room. We've had a business together since she was 10 and I was like 4 or 5. We made scrunchies. I think Chloe made them. I was a salesperson.
Okay, I love that.
They were $1.
Yeah, I'm wearing a scrunchie.
They were $1, and we would go to like buy the scraps of the scrunchies. You know, you can buy like scraps of fabric for like $5 for a thing. We'd buy that. And then we shared a room together. We went to dance together. When our parents got divorced, Chloe became like my full-time babysitter. So, because my mom at this point was a single mom, so she had 2 jobs. So my mom was like, you basically can do whatever you want, Chloe, like go out, go with your friends, but Maud has to come with you.
Oh, okay.
So I was everywhere, which was amazing. And I think
was it amazing, Chloe?
It actually my friends really liked her. So it was amazing from the standpoint of she was more social. I don't even want to say social because I'm very social, but she was more wild and like confident, super confident. And like, yeah, of course I'm here. These are my friends too. Like
I would say that, and especially as an adult looking back, that's probably what was the coolest about Chloe, is that she didn't mind taking me. Whereas, people now they're like, oh my God, I don't want my little sister to come with me. And I'll tell my students, I'm like, are you kidding me? That's like the coolest. Like, take her with you. You guys can share friends, and it's actually really cool. It's actually really fun. I think people these days compartmentalize too much because everybody has their own phone and their own headphones. There's such lack of community within the household now because of technology. So I'll say that was cool. And then Chloe always stood up for herself and was not like fast with boys. So those are the things that like big things I would say I remember. And like really smart. And again, full circle, not being fast with boys, it has carried over into our professional lives where we're still the same. And Chloe just had a meeting with probably one of the most powerful people in Hollywood. And he was like, I have heard nothing about you guys. He was like, there is no dirt, because there is no dirt to be heard. And he was like, and I asked around, and he's like, you guys are saints and angels, and it's impressive.
And I'd like to just say, it's not, just to be clear, because everybody's on their own journey. It's not to be judgy if you've had things in your life that you're not proud of. It's more so just that from very young, and it's in my diaries, I wrote in capital letters, my rules. And then I had this whole set of things, not that my mom told me to do, not that any adult told me to do, strictly from my observations of how people are treated and how I wanted to be treated. The first thing was like, respect myself. This is so righteous. Respect myself. Love myself. Don't let these boys get over on you.
You should post that online because it is definitely written and it says rules. It's pretty hilarious.
Where do you think that comes from? I mean, that it's such a powerful personal manifesto for a young person, right?
I think it's because we were, like Maud said,
maybe because we were around everything.
And we were in survival mode, meaning, okay, we have these dreams. We don't have any money. Our mom is busy because she's trying to make money for us to eat and to live. Because she was a teacher, but she wasn't the official teacher. She was teacher's assistant. So her pay wasn't of a teacher. And we already know teachers don't get paid a lot. So she was getting less pay than.
She was making like $23,000.
It was $26,000 a year for 3 children. I remember this.
Well, when I was in college, it was 28. I remember, and I was like, wow, Columbia's double what my mom makes a year.
Yeah. And so I look at it and I say, and we would say, okay, so we've got these big dreams. We want to dance. We want to go to Harvard and all this. And then I'm looking at the circumstances around me, which were absolute chaos in regards to, just violence, a lot of disrespect to women, lots of drug activity, all of these things, all of the pitfalls of an inner city. And I really had to look at it and go, well, what is our lane going to be? I take the subway, the bus, I walk to school. So I got to be smart. I got to be safe. I got to be looking around and paying attention. And so I think another thing is having the responsibility of a little sister makes you cognizant of, I'm a role model. So what do I want her to do?
We also have a brother who taught us a lot. And was very candid and honest. I mean, he would take me everywhere too. And his guy friends would like talk about girls in crass ways. And then they'd be like, oh, sorry, Lil Maud's here. And my brother would be like, no, speak the way you're going to speak, because she needs to know how men talk, like how men speak about women. And so also hearing all that from a very young age, I would be like, oh my God, I never want to be one of these girls spoken about like this.
And it's not to excuse their behavior, because they have a lot of work to do. And I'll say our brother is
he was never the one talking badly. Our brother is everybody who knows our brother loves our brother.
I think he always made us feel loved. Like we weren't seeking some guy to make us feel good about ourselves. He'd be like, you can do it. He was has always his whole life been you can do it. It's yours if you want it. Go for it. And I think that's like the general theme of our household, I would say, is you can do it. And not just to us, but if you step foot in our house, our moms, our grandmas, our houses now, somebody's going to remind you that you can do it. From literally every person in our family, even though our parents didn't stick together, there were all kinds of issues. At the end of the day, the one thing for sure that also our dad taught us is you can do it. You're smart enough. You have it in your spirit to do whatever you imagine.
And so you deserve to do it. As Black people, we're taught and conditioned that we don't deserve greatness and we don't deserve success. And, we
don't belong in a room.
We don't belong. And so much of our history is like slavery. And it's about the slaves. And I'm like, why don't we talk about the evils of the slave masters? Like, we never talk about that. We're always talking about how the slaves couldn't read and couldn't do these things. And so you're like, you're taught that you come from a lineage of very strong, resilient people, but not of thriving people. And I think that our parents, our dad and our mom, who is white, empowered us as women and as Black women very specifically and very pointedly, which is also a huge reason for our success and our confidence, is that we never questioned who we were, where we came from, and our power as individuals.
Yeah, and like Maud said, both of our parents are very smart and well-read,
highly intelligent.
And so they always gave us tools, particularly books, to learn about our history in a way that was empowering and that could make us feel proud and make us feel like we're actually standing on the shoulders of greatness, not, on folks that were just suffering, but rather of like not just resilient people, but again, if going back to queens and kings and of their own lands. And I think all of that really matters. Our white mom had us celebrating Kwanzaa
with all of our Black friends.
Yeah, like because the principles are so powerful of Kwanzaa. If people don't know, Kwanzaa is an African American tradition that is practiced near Christmas time.
It's
But
right after, it's between Christmas and New Year's.
yeah, and it's every day there's a principle, and each day reminds you of something within, in a way.
It's like Kuchi Chagalia is self-determination,
Yeah.
community, just principles that really are about uplifting and coming together. And it's not really about gift giving. You can give gifts, but they have to be something that you make for somebody. And, you know, and you go around and you talk. It's a really cool thing that
It's like affirmations of like, again, your
Yeah.
purpose. And I think that's kind of the general theme, honestly, of this conversation is like your purpose and like learning, trying to find it, understand it. But I think from very young.
But Chloe, I never finished answering the question.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is something too that you'll see often. Lisa, is that Chloe will go on, and I have to bring her back. She said, "What differentiates me from you?"
Well, you never got there.
Well, because you cut me off, sisters. Is that, well, like Chloe said, our personalities are actually very different. We just have the same value system, but anybody who knows us are like, y'all could not be more different as personality wise. Like, I'm louder. I thrive being around people and social, and like, I don't get drained by social interactions. I could go interact with 2,000 people today and be like fully energized afterwards. But I will say it was one particular instance that really was the defining moment of my independence. Is in 11th grade, I got offered a scholarship to go study in Brazil for my for that summer between junior and senior year. And I had a scholarship to go to Debbie Allen Dance Academy. And I called Miss Allen and I was like, Miss Allen, I got this scholarship to go to Brazil. It's at the same time as Dada Summer Intensive. You gave me a scholarship. I don't want to disrespect you. Like, what should I do? And she said, honey, you better go and learn how to samba. She said, that's amazing. She said, I'll see you when I get back. I'll always be here for you. Best mentor ever, also, because she wasn't trying to just hold me. And going to Brazil, because Chloe hadn't been to Brazil yet. I was the first in my family to go to Brazil. This is when you didn't have like iPhones. It was internet cafes, so I could email them like once a week. And I was there for 6 or 7 weeks. And that trip really was like a turning point for myself to develop my own friends and just be around my own, like, be Maud and not Chloe's little sister. But I also don't mind it. Like, when I go places, even here, Crystal here at Point Park the other day, she called me Chloe by accident. And then she was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I don't care. I was like, it's fine. I was like, you like Chloe, right? She said, yeah. I said, then it doesn't matter. I said, it's associated with something good. It doesn't matter. So it's not like a problem for me, because also we're really confident in who each other are. So if Chloe goes somewhere and they're like, oh, you're Maud's sister, she's not gonna be like, ugh, I'm Chloe. It's like, oh, great. You like my sister? Awesome. We're already friends. Cool. Like,
I love it.
It's easy.
It's a passport.
It is.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's amazing. Something that really, really stands out to me, which we could probably go off on for 2 hours, so we won't, but I just want to share with you, because to respond to something that Chloe said about, well, what you're both saying, but what Chloe said specifically about what was imparted to you growing up about your culture. Because I really, as a white woman, or as, you know, I hear that, because even without the history that your culture has as a you know, African American, we tend to get the messaging in general. I see it with parents of you know, you can do it, you can do better than, you can take it to the next level, you can be better than us. We worked hard, but you can work harder. But it sounds like you didn't get that. You got the no. It's amazing, you know. You're starting at a very high bar, so keep going. This is good. You don't have to prove it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different, and that's so empowering.
I actually have never thought about that. That's really an amazing observation, and takeaway, because it's true, which is also why I think we don't compete with anybody, because it was never like, be better than those other people, be better than No, it was just
or
like
fight to get out of what we're in. This is awful. It's your job while you're here on this earth to speak for us. It wasn't that. It was like, no, honor what went before you and keep going.
Yes, and I think about like the titles on our bookshelf. You know, there was a book by Lorraine Hansberry. It was called To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. That means that somebody way before us already thought of that and was asserting that that was a beautiful thing. And I remember I would always like, it's one of those things imprinted in my
memory. That beige book because it had that thick writing. Yeah.
Yes. And it's like the writing on the wall really matters. Like parents, it really matters what you're seeing every day because it truly sticks in your head. And I think, you know, it's a really good point because I remember in 5th grade, I was doing a trivia because like I said, so in regards to just to clarify, I said I'm really competitive and I truly am. And then Maud said we don't compete and that can sound like a contradiction, but I'll get if you look at the tug of war, that's a great example. If you also look at a video on my Instagram of us running up a hill, like
to which I won.
For me, running up the hill is so important. I do it as much as I can.
It's a sand hill. We were racing.
Sand hill.
It is the hardest thing
So
physically.
hard.
Yes.
And every time I reach the top of that hill, I say to myself, I could do it. Like it is a reminder of self, the ability within to conquer the obstacles within, because that is a physical. And, you know, as you're a woman and you're getting older, you know, everybody tells you, oh, it's going to get so hard and your body's not going to do it. And it's so for me, it's that internal, like, I can do this for me. Nobody else, I'm not getting any money from getting to the top of that hill. Nobody gives me a prize. It's that personal knowing that I can still push past obstacles and reach goals within that are special to me. And I think it's just for everyone, we all have those things. But when I was in 5th grade, there was a trivia on Black history. And I remember I knew it all. And I was so proud that I knew it all because a lot of the kids were learning it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know Madam C.J. Walker. She was one of the first Black millionaires in America. You know, like I was so proud to know all of these incredible accomplishments of my ancestors. And so I think I never, like Maud said, I never thought of this really the way you're putting it. But like, yeah, it was like, you know.
We were surrounded by Black excellence in DC, which is why DC is such a unique place to grow up because you had the spectrum of Black people. Of course, you had crackheads because it was the crack epidemic, but then we also, our friends' parents were general counsel for Verizon, and you know, and we met those people through dance, because dance brings all types together. So
that is the most beautiful part, the dance studio. We were on scholarship and our best friend's mom was a lawyer at Verizon.
Not a lawyer, Chloe, general counsel.
Right.
Be very clear because I didn't even realize how big of a deal that was until maybe like 5 years ago when one of my friends is general counsel of the 49ers. And I was like, what does that mean exactly? And then she told me and I was like, hold on, I think that's what Miss Sherry did back in the day when you didn't see any Black people, particularly not Black women in the C-suite. In the C-suite, it didn't happen. And so we were surrounded by people showing us and telling us you can do it. I mean, my mom.
And the women, the moms of our dance company called Taps and Company and Tony Lambre, they believed in the village. They were like, we're village moms. Like that was across the board. Everybody's like, yeah, we're village moms. We're your mom. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna feed you. They really did. Like our mom was working. Oh, don't worry, I'll take you home. You know, like, oh, you guys didn't eat? Hold on, let me grab some food for everyone. It was, we knew we were backed up. We knew we were supported by a community that oh yes, we all love tap, but it was just so much more. And I think going back to this.
And it was never tit for tat.
No, never quantified like who does more, whose parent does more. It's like everybody brings their own unique thing. And when I look at that, and you know, we were talking, Lisa, about like that journey of me in New York and like fighting to be respected and all of that. The irony is that when I created Sync Ladies, and not in the early stages because I didn't realize it, but now, retrospect, all I was doing was recreating the best part of my childhood, which was an all-female tap crew that Miss Tony Lombre had started, that I got to be a part of, that gave me the most joy as a child. I just recreated that.
And those women who we danced with as children all volunteered at the DC Tap Fest last week.
Oh, another circle. What a surprise.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is so amazing. I have to ask you what your definition of living in the moment is, given that the podcast is called Stop Time, Live in the Moment.
Ooh.
So who would like to answer?
I can go first.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, I would say
Because
living in the moment. Oh,
Yeah.
This is Mud. I have the raspy voice. Living in the moment is being free to do whatever you feel. So if it's like, I feel like going to buy a smoothie now, or I feel like going to take a nap, or I feel like reading a book, or I feel like getting on a flight to Paris, that to me is living in the moment.
I mean, you could translate that to say living in the moment is being at choice, is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say particularly because our lives are so, vast. We have so many things that we do. I was saying this yesterday. I was choreographing a commercial and I was on set, and the producer was like, "How do you do it all?" And I was like, "Because I stay present. I know I have 700 things to do. But in this moment where I am currently with you, I'm giving you and this project me for today. And as soon as this wraps, on to the next moment of what it is that I'm prioritizing in that time." But I think being present, I get a massive thrill from, like, when we get off the call. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do before I have rehearsal at 10:30, and people will be trickling in. But between that like 10-minute break,
I know what she says. She's
I'm gonna
walk
go
around her property and look at what they're doing.
because the fence they're building gives me an absolute thrill. And so I got excited. I woke up this morning like, they're building the fence. And so I try to just allow myself to be present, because I know that I'm going to be pulled in every direction by nature of all the things I like to do. This is not someone forcing me to do this. This is total choice to overload the plates. But I tried, honestly, and this is definitely the moment, this is a moment in my life, because this wasn't before. Like Maud said, we do have way more choice. We have way more, ownership over our day to day, which has been earned because, before we were financially so unstable that we had to take every job, had to do everything. And now I get to have discernment and say, this is fully in alignment. This will bring me joy. I will be able to give my all to this project. I actually just turned down a play because I knew I knew I didn't want to multitask it, because I wouldn't have been able to be present the way that would honor them and honor my standard of work.
But I will also say, in addition to that, I still do a lot of things that are not on my cup of tea. I do a lot of, just to make it clear for everybody listening, I do all of our finances, all of our bookkeeping for our foundation and all of our businesses and the DC Tap Fest. I run every aspect from the merch to the credit card processing. And I say that it's important for people to know that, like, we don't just show up like la-di-da-da-da. Like, I am still doing a lot of the work, but it is for things that we want to do. And so I think that's important to discern. I'm not working for somebody else or working on something that's not bringing us joy, but it is still a lot of work.
Yeah. And I think that, in regards to choice, right? I think that with choice comes responsibility. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to be just like the star. That was my choice. No, it's like with that platform comes all the responsibility, all the people that are following your footsteps, all of the people who you must pay, all of the various things that come with it. And I'll just say, to summarize it, living in the moment is being able to just be present and to enjoy the space and time that I have, because like I said, there's so many diverse experiences I have in a day, in a week, in a month, and being able to so that it doesn't become just a mishmash and like where I lose appreciation. I try to just lock into gratitude for that moment and that time and that hour. And like this hour, I'm very thankful for this hour, because if we didn't have this hour, we would have been doing something else, right? And not maybe reflecting on the process and journey. And even by you asking that question, it's going to make me appreciate the moment even more, because now I'm even more aware of it.
Side note, Chloe, for the record, said I talk a lot. I think it runs in the family.
No, it's wonderful. You guys are brilliant. It's so funny. So just really quickly to just to riff off what you were saying, Chloe, and maybe this is a separate conversation. What's so interesting and makes so much sense, and you'll get this because you understand energy, both of you, and dance, right? Because when you think about meter and time, and it's called stop time, right? It's that time that where the rhythm of, let's say, life is going on, and where it's holding the pulse for you, but you can do whatever you want in that space.
Yes.
Ooh, right. And so, I mean, that's my whole concept behind the idea of using that as a thing. I mean, it's fun because, yeah, I have a tap dance background, if you know, but right. But as tap dancers, we know that, right? We know that when it comes time to solo, everyone's supporting you. The rhythm of life is underneath you, and it's up to you what you want to say in that space. And what really dawns on me when I talk to you, and again, we'll probably need to talk about this separately, is that you're speaking to being able to be really focused because it's a value to you, and then to having to create the space and the perspective in a very, very packed schedule that you've chosen, back to Maud's choice, right? And I'd love to dive in deeper with you. And this is where my work as a coach, like I really get excited working with high performers like you. Like, how do you create that? What about the places where there are spaces? How can you elongate that? And you do that by walking around and looking at the fence, because you don't go, I can't do that, I'm too busy. You will allow for that. And that is really fascinating to me.
I think we both, Maud and I think, help each other implement the downtime. And again, it's not a lot of downtime, but if I say to her, I can't talk about that right now, I can't work on that right now, she gets it. Or if she tells me, I don't want to hear about that again right now, I get it.
I did this morning.
This morning, exactly. So we're able to tell each other when we need space to just be, to do nothing.
Yeah.
Watch TV show.
Or even, and also shout out to our amazing manager, Kalina, who also knows, like, there's a certain job that I have where I volunteer, and Chloe and I, our foundation, actually also helps sponsor this program. It's called Art Saves Lives, and it's in St. Martin. And it's, I pay to go, basically, and teach these amazing children from underserved communities dance for a week. And I will miss paid work. And our manager is like, fine with it. She's not like, Ma, this is a paid job. She's like, because she knows it is important for my spirit to go and be with these children.
We have the best team.
Best team.
I mean,
hands down, best team.
Most managers, because I have so many friends in the business, are literally just chasing the dollar.
Yeah.
Get the biggest payoff, get the biggest job. And again, going back to purpose, Kalina is so locked in to her personal purpose that aligns with ours. And then that's why it works. She has always led with her gut and always says, oh, this is wonderful for you ladies. Or it's a lot of money, but I don't think it aligns with your
Uh-huh.
values. And
Amazing.
she'll say, no, thank you, and walk away, easy,
Yeah.
walk
Yeah,
away.
that's
We walked away
amazing.
from a Paramount movie. She was
Yeah.
like, she said, nope. I said, I'm uncomfortable. She said, I'm uncomfortable. She said, nope, leave it. Let it be.
Amazing. That's amazing, right?
Yeah, we're blessed.
Yeah.
Because it's very rare because so many people are just like money,
Oh,
money,
yeah.
money, opportunity,
Oh,
opportunity.
yeah. No, it's brilliant. All right. I'm going to, can you finish this phrase? These are two things. I got to get this in for you.
Okay.
And Maude, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Most people think that Maude Arnold is, but the truth is.
Most people think Maude Arnold is the nicer sister, but the truth is Maude is actually the one who will tell you about yourself and cut you off.
Yes.
Love it.
That's real.
Love it. Perfect. Chloe, what about you?
I was going to say most people will think that I'm serious, very serious, but I really love to have a good time.
Love it.
Funny.
Love it.
I would say that that's correct.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So really quick, rapid fire. Okay. I'm going to say what makes you, and then you're going to say the first thing that comes to your mind. And we can go, do you want to go like Maude, Chloe, or do you want to go?
Sure.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes you hungry?
Smell of croissants.
Hungry, literally?
Yes.
The desire to achieve.
What makes you sad?
When people die.
When people don't believe in themselves.
What inspires you?
Life and children.
I was going to say people.
What frustrates you?
Liars and people who are not of their word.
Hatred and unkindness.
What makes you laugh?
Everything.
Circumstances, people and circumstances.
Perfect. What makes you angry?
Racism.
Yeah. When people are disrespectful, all the isms.
Yeah, fair enough. And finally, what makes you grateful?
Waking up every day.
Life, every component. I always say I'm thankful for everything, everyone, every moment, every opportunity that I get to live. And I always say for my prayers, I just pray for health and life for myself, my family, my community, my friends. Everything else, we'll work for it, we'll earn it, we'll get there. I just need for us to be alive and well.
Yes.
Maude, what are the top 3 things that have happened so far today?
I woke up. I walked to the bathroom on 2 working legs and feet. And I got the most kind message from a dear friend of mine that actually made me tear up. It was just a message of gratitude for being a good friend. And it was random.
Love it. What about you, Chloe? Top 3 things.
I got a good night's sleep. And I had my eye mask on and I woke up and I was like, yes, it's still on. Because a lot of times. So that was like amazing. I woke up and was like, yeah, sleep. Because
Chloe, rapid fire.
Sorry, sleep.
No, it's not right. This is not rapid fire anymore.
Okay.
Sleep. I got a good night's sleep. I had a beautiful warm shower. And I got to talk to my contractors about where the fence goes.
Yeah. I figured the fence was going to come into that.
I knew the fence was going to come in.
Oh my God, ladies, I so appreciate you taking the time to be with me today on the podcast. I really do.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for just being consistent in who you've always been.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Well, ditto.
Just to stay all so connected. Like the years don't mean a thing.
No, they really don't. And
They
and I
really
love
don't.
that we're sort of in our new stage and getting.
Yes.
Let me know how I can support you in any way. We'll be in touch. All right.
Thank you so much. Enjoy Quebec and the lake.
Oh, I will.
I know.
All right, guys. Much love.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I've been speaking today with Chloe and Maude Arnold. Thanks so much for listening. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. And remember to live in the moment. In music, stop time is that beautiful moment where the band is suspended in rhythmic unison, supporting the soloist to express their individuality. In the moment, I encourage you to take that time and create your own rhythm. Until next time, I'm Lisa Hopkins. Thanks for listening.